Welcome to the Doug.Show live, and welcome. Let me know in the chat if you can hear me. I hope that you can. And we got a few cool things we got going on today. So if you are here for the first time, I'm very excited to have you on. Please just say hello in the chat. I'm pointing to the chat window that you can't see, but say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're from and that it's your first time on. I did post to my private Facebook group that is just for students, all right? Just for students of Five Figure Niche Site. So if you have asked to join that group and you're not a student, I will point you in some other direction. Basically, I decline. But anyway, there will be people from the course in here today. So looking forward to that. And hopefully that, I do hope you can hear me. Moving on, I'll give you a quick couple highlights of things we're going to look at today. We're going to talk about number one, growing a site, scaling, and just making more money, doing more. I'm also going to mention some on-site SEO tips, which kind of goes hand in hand. Plus, it all ties together. My friend John Dykstra has a new course on-site SEO, and he gets over 1 million visitors per month to his site. So pretty significant overall. So the course right now is on sale till the end of the day. I'll give you more details on that later. By the way, John's courses are super popular. They are delivered in full right away. They are, something you can implement immediately, especially this on-site stuff. It's pretty like straightforward to like make on-site changes and then get good results pretty quickly afterwards. Kind of amazing. So in this case, an on-site SEO course is something you can consume quickly because it's a specific set of things to go over, and then you can work on it this weekend if you have some free time. Then we'll answer some questions like we do. I also have some clips. Now, usually when I'm playing these clips on the show on Friday, they are often clips that I've already, released at some point. Sometimes it's a few months old, sometimes it's a few weeks old. However, I am starting to do more interviews now that the new year has started and people's schedules opened up. Basically, I have a few clips, maybe like 3 clips that have been recorded but not released yet. So these are like a sneak peek. One is from Ron Stefanski, the 1 Hour Professor, who's been publishing a lot more content on YouTube recently, and then the other is there's 2 from John Dykstra, sort of related to some of the stuff we're going to talk about today, but we'll get into that later. So a couple fresh new clips, never seen before, and then there's one from Marty, which I released that last week. So highly recommend people check out those recent success story interviews if you haven't. Marty and Christy and Marcus, all of those were super popular, like 5x more views, more watch time. Like people really like the success story interviews, so that's pretty cool. All right, thanks for the folks that hopped on the chat here to let me know. We got Positive, we got JYH, which I always forget your name, man. What is it? And then Bowl for Love, and he or she is asking, is KGR working? The answer is yes. Tosh, what's up? We got McChew, Derek, Study Aid, Syed, what's up? We got Akram and Cloth Diapers. Cool. So quick note is if if you're asking questions, I may or may not answer them, but there are other helpful, wonderful people, more helpful than me, probably more polite too. I will absolutely concede to that in the chat that may be able to answer some of your questions, or sometimes they're so awesome that they paste a link to nichesiteproject.com/FAQ, or you can just go straight there. Highly recommend you just read those questions. Or if you have like some general ideas about what you want to do with an Amazon affiliate site, or maybe you don't know what to do, you can head over to nichesiteproject.com and then you can just read. All right, just read over there. And the JYH, I think Jason. So you emailed me a while back, I'm pretty sure, about Matt from Money Lab, right? So I think we're finally going to be able to meet up today. Not 100% sure, but he lives like 20 minutes away. And we met organically at a homebrew thing at a co-working space where I'm a member. I'm not sure if he's officially a member there, but anyway, he and I connected, talked about beer, talked about some of the stuff we're working on, and we haven't been able to connect yet, but I was like, hey, we got some stuff that we can collaborate on, and he knew that several people like emailed him and me that we should meet up. So we'll probably hook it up soon. We haven't been dragging our feet. It's just been slow because I've been house hunting. I think he's been house hunting too. I'm unsure, but he's been out of town doing this, doing that, and I have just been busy and scheduling. So anyway, I will hop over to some of the topics today. So the first thing, growing a site and ways to scale. So these sort of questions, super common. See this almost every single day. Someone sends me an email, hey, I'm making $10 a month, $10 a day, $100 a day, whatever. But I want to do a little bit more. I've taken this approach and this stuff seems to be working, and they're just like, hey, I want to grow. And let me know in the chat, leave a comment if you're watching the replay later. Just, yeah, I'm looking to grow a site. I have been able to make some money, but I think I can do better. So most people, I would venture to say almost 100% of people with a site are like, hey, I think I could maybe make more. So whether you're making a lot or a little, usually something like that will apply. So number one, a lot of people automatically think, hey, I want to build another site. I have a site that is doing okay, but I want to build another site because I see other people like John Dykstra or Ron Stefanski, and they have a bunch of sites. So I think, hey, I should probably build a few sites. Usually I will encourage a person to spend more time on their existing site. It's highly, highly likely that they have just skipped some things that would be really helpful. They haven't reached the potential for that particular site. So basically, what happens is someone works on the things that they're good at or that they find a little easier or that's a little cheaper. So for example, and this is not arbitrary, this is like specific for many people. And basically it's like, hey, I want to publish content. I want to publish keyword golden ratio, KGR type content. And I want to keep publishing more of that because it seems to work okay so far. By the way, give me a thumbs up, give me a like if you are into this topic to grow your site. So people are thinking, hey, I want to build another site. But really, they should probably spend more time on the existing site. So if they are publishing content and it's working okay, and then maybe they spend a couple weeks trying to build some backlinks, maybe they don't build that many backlinks, maybe they get a few of them, but they don't see any immediate impact to their rankings or to their earnings or to anything. It just seems like that was a total waste of time. And people then get sort of discouraged and they go back to the KGR or just publishing content. And by the way, you don't have to use a KGR. That is totally fine. It's just one approach. Thanks everyone for giving the thumbs up. Basically, if you can spend some time on link building, and I'm picking on that one early on because this is just the symptom that I'm seeing over and over and over the past like year and a half or so. Even people that say, yeah, I think I built some links and they seem to pay off maybe, but I don't really know. It's really hard to quantify, like, did this activity of link building help, or was it content that helped? Or maybe you did something different, like you were putting more time into Pinterest and you're getting more Pinterest traffic and your rankings seem to go up. But the problem is you're doing, 8, 10, 24 things, right? All at the same time, and you really can't tell what's doing what. It's probably a combination of a few things, but it's essentially impossible to know. So with that said, I think if you spend some time link building, and here's the other part. I know some of the people that I mentioned that were link building and they didn't see any good results. Later on, they said, oh, you know what? It was a few months later, but I think like those links actually helped. So oftentimes, if they would have just stayed with the link building, they would be better off. Now, that's also taking into account that they have enough content. Now, what is enough content? That's another conversation for another day. But I can tell you that basically, if you're spending time link building, it's probably going to be good. Even if it's like 1 or 2 links a month, like over time, that adds up. That really adds up. Next, I'll mention improving content. So this is going into like on-site SEO tips, but if you have enough content and maybe you don't buy into link building and just you're making a stand and you're like, hey, I'm not going to do any link building. All right. So maybe you want to approach it from a content improvement standpoint. And there are other longer videos, in fact, like full over the shoulder demos, free on YouTube, by the way, for the FAQ method, where you can add frequently asked questions in a methodical way that you can outsource really easily. And basically, you find content that's doing pretty well, but you think you can do better. Maybe it's ranking in the top 10, maybe in the top 15, and then you go do research or hire someone to do research for frequently asked questions, and then you'll be able to just add content. Let's say you find 10 frequently asked questions, write 100 to 150 words. Very quickly, very easily, you have 1,000 to 1,500 more words without much work. By the way, it's super easy to outsource that kind of activity because it doesn't have to flow that well. It's just answering questions. It's super easy to do research as well. So it's kind of one of those no-brainer, outsource the activity. If a person can write like 3 or 4 sentences, they probably can do the FAQ for you, and it's a very quick turnaround too. So that's like my top tip to improve content. There's several other ways. Of course, you can take a much more analytical approach, use the Search Console, check out information there, and then really sort of surgically make those insertions of specific content that should be able to pay off in a short amount of time. Other on-site tips, just one that's pretty often neglected. I audited 2 sites this week, and there were not enough internal links. It was pretty weak. Maybe there was 1 internal link for every few posts or so. And if you have those, I mean, it's really going to make a difference. And the last sort of on-site tip for just increasing revenue with the same amount of traffic is calls to action. So again, I audited a site today. By the way, if you want your site audited, I'll do a teardown. We could either do it live where we, answer questions, go back and forth, or I could just record it for you. If you go to nichesiteproject.com/hire-me, there's a link in the description. You can hire me, and I will tell you exactly what I would do with your site. Okay, that said, a lot of times people don't put enough calls to action, or they put terrible affiliate links. So maybe you have a table and there's like 3 affiliate links for every product. Maybe you have 7 products, you have 21 affiliate links just dumped in one little table, and then you have no other affiliate links throughout the page. Now, sure, a table is a great way to get people over to Amazon. However, if someone's, going through a 2,500 word post or a 3,000 word post, and they're scrolling down, they're reading about a particular product, and then there's no link to get to the product anywhere near at all, like the mini review, then you end up with a person trying to figure out how to get over to Amazon. Maybe they remember they can scroll back up and look at that table, but they might not. They might just search for it on Amazon directly, and then they never clicked through your affiliate link. So just, making sure that you're doing the simple stuff right, like placing an affiliate link in the appropriate spot. So thanks everyone for the thumbs up. I do appreciate it. And when I saw some people did give a regular thumbs up in the chat, but what I'm talking about is liking the video so other people find it. And if you happen to be watching the replay, leave a comment, like the video, do all that stuff. Really do appreciate it. It does indeed help. I guess it's not Amazon. It helps YouTube understand that people like to watch the video. Quick note, this live stream is brought to you in part by Ezoic. They have rolled out their new site speed accelerator, which I've been playing with recently, and I have some new copy to read for you here. So the Site Speed Accelerator removes the negative impact of slow loading pages on visitor experiences by determining what causes a page to load slowly. The Site Speed Accelerator optimizes how those elements are loaded and then delivers them automatically to improve SEO and website revenue. The Site Speed Accelerator instantly increases the website speed, page load times, and the Google PSI, or Page Speed Insight scores automatically by implementing image optimization, lazy loading, CSS rendering, and much more. I know another cool thing is the way it loads scripts. All right, so I'm departing a little from the copy, which they give us plenty of flexibility with, by the way. But basically, you can load these scripts in different orders, right? So when you're just not optimizing anything, they may be coming in whatever order is listed, and then you have the server response time for wherever that script is running or pulled from. And basically, if you load the scripts in an intelligent way, you can get the site rendered and usable more quickly, loading the scripts that aren't important a little bit later. So very important. Now, quick note, the Site Speed Accelerator is a product that you can use for any CMS, so it doesn't have to be WordPress. You don't have to use a plugin. There is a plugin available, but there are other ways to implement it. So it'll work on any website, which is great. Some people are not running WordPress, not a ton. Most people in our ecosystem are using WordPress. Anyway, you can get hooked up with a free 7-day trial, and they do guarantee. So Ezoic is so confident that they guarantee a publisher's score for PSI, that's the Google Page Speed Insights, of 80 plus after 1 week with the Site Speed Accelerator. So check out the 7-day trial. Thanks a lot to Ezoic. So for a second here, I'm going to hop over to the chat. I know there's been a lot of chatter over there, chatter in the chat, and see what's going on before we move on and give a little bit more with the on-site updates. All right, so a couple questions here, and Jason's saying you're looking forward to the interview with Matt, so that'll be awesome. Tosh says you started using the keyword golden ratio after discovering me on YouTube, and now you have your first snippet. And you say thank you. Well, you're welcome. You did all the hard work, and that's what you have to do out there, folks. Like, implement something. I know a lot of people are like, hey, does the KGR work still? Do X, Y, or Z still work? And the answer is usually yes. The KGR definitely works, but like you gotta learn something, then execute. Like me giving you the approval. I mean, you've probably seen the videos before, whoever was asking if the KGR works. Basically, I've just been saying the same stuff over and over again. So don't take my word for it or any of the people here. You could just do it yourself and then figure out if it's going to work. So moving on, Chu says you're interested in learning about my link building strategy where you can do it with a cheaper price with your VA. Do I have a course just about that? The answer is no. Or can you access the part of the full course for a smaller price? Also, the answer is no. So generally that's just, I mean, it's partially within the course, but I'm kind of doing my own flavor right now. You could hire me for one-on-one consulting, but it's not packaged up in a course format or anything like that. And yeah, it's fairly straightforward, just in general. All right, next. Jehovah's Fitness, nice. What's going on? Daniel, you say you like the content, age site case study as well. And da, 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 da. Oh, and Daniel says you thought Ezoic was an ad network. That's what I thought too, until I started chatting with him and connecting with the company. So they don't have plugins per se, that are absolutely required. They do have the functionality, in plugins. So if you don't want to do any sort of other like implementation, sometimes you can insert a bit of code or something like that. So anyway, Daniel, yeah, you should check it out. They have like a full suite of products, and it's a lot more than just an ad network. And next, David says, can you make money by creating a Udemy affiliate blog? Well, I don't know about that specifically, but if that is a valid thing, then probably. So Udemy affiliate blog. So you just want to recommend Udemy courses? Maybe that could be okay. But I don't know. I haven't done that. And Dennis says the KGR rocks and drives traffic quickly to new sites. Thanks, Dennis. Appreciate that. And what is next on our list here? So I'm going to give another quick tip on the on-site, especially to improve revenue. So I mentioned improving content, all right? I also mentioned the FAQ method specifically, full demos on that, so you could search on the channel. The next is just making sure you have solid calls to action. So don't forget that. I mean, that is like basic 101. If you are putting shitty affiliate links where they're hard to find or it's just formatted terribly, it's not going to convert as well. And I've audited sites where I've told people to add affiliate links and they literally had no change in traffic, but ended up with a significant, I don't remember the exact earnings movement, but it was like significant in the hundreds of dollars range, which at the point where they were making, this is an arbitrary example, but the ballpark range is about right. They're making, say, $200 to $300 per month, implement the changes, and then they're making like $450 to $550, like pretty significant. I don't know the percentage on that, something like 30-ish%. Your mileage may vary, but making sure you have like proper affiliate links is a very good idea. And then the last on-site SEO tip is generally, oh, I forgot to mention the internal linking. So be sure you internal link, very powerful way to pass link juice and improve rankings. And finally, the other tip is just adding more content to each of the mini reviews for products on like a best of type page. So if we're just thinking of improving revenue, a lot of times you have an opportunity, and I see this again and again, where maybe there's 150 to say 400 words written about each product. And that could be okay for a mini review, but there's really a big opportunity to add more content. So even with the same number of products, you can make sure that you are mentioning each feature that a product has and how it sort of ties back and compares to some of the other products. That way you end up with sort of a compare and contrast, and you could really beef up those mini reviews so that, one, they're more useful, but your word count can go up significantly. Again, let's say you have 7 products. Going back to my made-up example from before, you have 7 products on your review page. It's a best of type page. And then you can go and add 300 more words for each one of the 7 products, and you end up with another 2,100 words, right? Pretty straightforward. And if you had, let's say it's a 2,500 word post already, and you go in, beef it up, add more content, you're almost doubling the amount of content, making it more useful, and generally just upping the word count. So it's a win-win-win. Hopefully you'll attract more long tails. It'll be more useful content for the visitor. Google is able to, hopefully improve your rankings because your site is a better resource than the others out there. So With that said, I'm going to transition over to John Dykstra. I'm going to play a clip here. And the fun thing is I have not yet published this interview, and it's sort of hot off the presses. In fact, I didn't watch it ahead of time. I just got it from my editor. So honestly, I don't know exactly what is on this one, so I can't do a proper intro, but I'm going to play it anyway. All right, so let's see what we got here. And hopefully we'll be all right. This is from John Dykstra, interview from the other day, not yet published, and we recorded it the other day. All right, here we go.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm terrible at this stuff. You even say DNS or name servers, and I'm just like, I use Kinsta hosting with amazing customer support. I'm just like, open it up. You got to help me out here. How do I do this, right? Like, because I register with GoDaddy, and then I got hosting there, I got Cloudflare, and it's like all supposed to be integrated. And to this day, I don't even know how to. I can barely, like, it seems like starting a site is hard to get all this stuff going. So if you're frustrated getting your site going and it's driving you crazy with all this tech stuff, just jumble through it. Usually most hosting companies have really good support. Even the lower cost ones, I'm amazed at the live chat. Like, I still have Bluehost account, and I'll hit them up on live chat when I got to deal with this stuff. They're very helpful. But probably my worst tech story is with my biggest site. This is gotta be a couple of years ago. It was doing really well then, and I got some sort of malware attack on this thing. Like, it was totally brutal. In fact, it was displaying as a .ru. No, that's not the site, right? They basically took it over, and I could still go in there and deal with the content and everything, but it was somehow shown as a .ru, and it was completely hacked, and I had no idea what to do. And within a fairly short time after that, it was de-indexed from Google. Like, they basically told me, Search Console, your site's like de-indexed. I'm like, whoa. I had a pretty good idea it was to hack and nothing else. So I thought, okay, well, I think I could fix this. But I was pretty nervous about that, obviously, right? So I think I hired security at that point. Like, they have services that can, like, just, they got the freebie sort of thing, but I had to pay them. And they went in and they just cleaned the thing out. And I was actually really amazed because Google re-indexed it very, very quickly. I think I had to submit a review for it once security had done their thing. And I wrote a little thing, security did all blah, 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 blah. And I mean, within a week, it was re-indexed, which I was really impressed about, because Google is sort of known to us as like this big black hole with no customer support. You never hear anything, no matter what you ask them. And yeah, but sure enough, I mean, it was a quick response. It was re-indexed. All my rankings were golden. Like, they didn't really move. So I feel really fortunate I came out as I did. But I'll tell you, I think it was about 4 or 5 weeks that it took, like, dealing with that whole mess. That's by far the worst tech issue I ever had with a site. These attacks, like, recently I dealt with it again. It wasn't nearly as bad, but BuzzFeed had a really good article recently about how a lot of WordPress site owners are, what's happening is there's some sort of attack creating these. So if you have a site, check it, but they're creating users, admin users, and then they're going in and they're injecting outbound spam links. And they're hard to find because they usually target older content, which you wouldn't normally go and like check. Like, it's not like we go check all our content every day to make sure it's good, right? We assume it's good. And I was just doing some work on some old posts, and I found these spam links. I'm like, what's this, right? And then I looked and I found this rogue user was created. And then I'm like, so anyways, I had to hire WordFence. They have a cleanup service for that, which was very cool. And they cleaned it. They got rid of the links. They cleaned it all up. But that was a recent thing. I mean, the site didn't get de-indexed, but I mean, who wants a bunch of? I had no idea how many spam outbound links were. I think there were over 20 though on the site, and that's not cool. So another tech problem. These things never stop.
Do you know if it was like an old plugin that had a vulnerability, or do you know how they got in?
Oh, probably because I'm super lazy and I don't update my stuff as quickly as I should. So I added managed WP to my sites, which updates everything weekly. So yeah, it's my fault. I'm telling you, the tech stuff, I'm irresponsible. So it was my fault, like for sure, right? Like, good word of advice: keep your stuff updated. And I installed Word Fence. Also, I guess they have additional security measures against fake users being created and so forth. So far, seems good. I use the free version; seems to be good.
Cool. And another plug for managed WP. So I use them too. I think it's like $1 or $2 per month per site to have like offsite backups. You can restore it at a push of a button. So I haven't, knock on wood, I haven't had any issues. And a lot of my sites are at SiteGround and they have a malware scanning add-on that I always get, and it checks it. I think either it's weekly or daily. I can't remember. And if I ever have an issue, I know I can go back to manage WP and restore from the point before there was an issue. And then, I mean, everything's are updated as they should be. And I'm pretty lean on plugins because I know there's always a vulnerability. Like the more things you have going on, like the more issues you can have. So scary.
Yeah, I'm a plugin hog. Another problem.
Oh yeah. How many do you usually have like on a baseline site?
30.
Okay. I try to keep it to about 10 or 11, and usually like three of those are security in some way or another. So,
Yeah, yeah,
did they slow your site down? I guess you're at Kinsta, so they're rocking it pretty good, right?
probably do. I just can't seem to let go of them. But do as I
Okay.
say, not what I do. Keep your plugins to a minimum. And here's the thing. Here's it goes back to this distraction thing. Some cool little plugin comes out, you set it up, and then you deploy it across your content, and it's cool. It does what it says, but it's another plugin. And then it's like, oh, well, I don't want to get rid of it because I kind of like what it does. Now, if I would have just never bothered trying it in the first place, then I wouldn't have this problem. But that's how I end up with 30 plus plugins.
Gotcha. All right, that was John Dykstra from Fat Stacks blog, and Nick says, "I love this dude." Yeah, John's awesome. Couple really, really good interviews with him, and you can check those out on the channel, also on the Doug.Show podcast if you're into podcasts. And yeah, that was that was pretty alarming. 30 plugins John is running, but um, you know, it seems like he's doing okay. So highly recommend you check out his stuff. And he does have that new on-site SEO course. It is currently on sale, so it just launched, and that sale ends at the end of the day today. I think 11:55 p.m. Pacific time. And basically, there's a link in the description. You should follow that. You save, I believe, $73.50 if you buy before the end of the day. So highly recommend you check it out. John has a generous 30-day refund policy. So if you're unsure, right, if you just need to make a decision, I recommend maybe just buy it, and then you can check it out. And then if it's not super helpful, then you can ask for a refund. I don't think you will want to after you implement it. And the cool thing with John's courses, unlike my own, they are shorter, bite size. You get all the information all at once, where my course, I drip out the content. And I know that for example, Chu earlier, McChew was asking about like, hey, I just want to like take a piece of your course and do that part because I think that's where I need help. So I don't offer that because there's some technical issues, and then I made decisions early on where I was just like, hey, I'm not going to fuck around with certain things. I just want to keep things simple, and I potentially am leaving money on the table, but part of this is just my own personal sanity. So anyway, yeah, check out John's course, check out the other interview. And by the way, that clip was from an interview that is not yet published. So if you are new to the channel, I'm glad you're here. Have a look at some of the other videos. Please subscribe. And if you haven't signed up for the email list over at Niche Site Project, I share all my templates, all this information, different guides. I point you to the right direction for certain things. So a lot of the questions that people are asking, I literally answer via the email list through pieces of content that I drip out over time via the autoresponder. So basically, yeah, basically we got a few things going on. So I'm going to mention a couple other things here, and then towards the end, I will hit some of the questions that are popping up. So number two, I don't know what number two is here, but I'm going to play another clip from John. Again, highlight reel that I don't know exactly what's going to pop up. So I'm going to play this other clip from John. And then I have two more clips after this from John, one from Marty and one from Ron Stefanski. So here's the one from John.
Yeah, sure. I love statistics and facts, and I try to put them in a lot of content, and I instruct writers that I hire to do that. And they're so easy to find. They're all over. One of my favorite sites is I think it's Dykstra.com. Check that. That thing is a goldmine. I'm probably going to pull the trigger in and subscribe to that. But when they have statistics and data on anything you could imagine, but like you can often like look at a company's financial report. They come out or annual report, loads of information with interesting stuff, whatever. It's all out there. Anyways, I mean, you find an interesting statistic or a data point, and you try to use it as a foundation for an interesting article. So, for instance, what did I read recently? Something about, I don't know how many billions in Nike shoes are sold every year. And you could take that and use that as a foundation for an article, or just as part of an article. Or you can compile a bunch of statistics if they're related into tables and create cool charts. And this will also attract links. The whole point is that other website publishers like to do this, and they will source various statistics. I typically source with a link Statista or wherever I get this information with a link. But I just find that you can add a lot of engaging and link-worthy content if you get some interesting statistics and data, and I use them quite a bit. And here's the best data you can get. You need traffic for your site, but put polls on your site, and like it can be like, those hot or not things, where it's like you basically could have like compare two things, right? Like, do you like Nike or Adidas? That's it. That's the question. Click the button. And let's say you get 300 responses. You now have a really good data set, right? Like you could say, okay, well, mysite.com readers love Nike way more than Adidas. Here's the chart. Here's the information. It's a data set, and it's legitimate, and it's good. And that would be a primary source. You don't have to reference anything. And guess what? You might, if you put it up in a nice little chart or table or bar graph or something, somebody might take that and put it on their site and link to you, or just link to you. And it's stuff like this that can help really build up your authority of your site.
Great idea. I've heard of like similar sort of, I guess, statistical gathering. So like you said, you have a primary source, other people are going to be interested, news sources may be interested, right? If it's sort of a hotter topic, you can get cited, maybe even get an interview. I'm making a lot of leaps here, but I mean, if you do a few of these, the chances go up. So
do lots of them. I mean,
cool.
How hard is it? Again, you need traffic, unfortunately, but I mean, a lot of people listening to and watching this are going to have traffic to their sites. Put up polls, and if you have categories on your site, create different polls for different categories that would resonate with your visitors, and let them run for a month. Then go check out the data. So if you've got 10 polls running, and ultimately you're going to end up with enough data points or responses to actually create a good chart, you now can put 10 charts out on your site. And let's say each one of those in the next 3 months gets one link back to your site. Basically, for no cost and almost no time, you've been able to get 10 backlinks to your site, if probably from good sites, right? Because these are sites that are creating good content and they're actually referencing you, so they're legit. They probably have real traffic. These are the golden links. And if you had to outsource or pay for those links via guest posting or whatnot, well, 10 of those would probably cost you north of $2,000 to $3,000, maybe more. It is a no-brainer. And but it's a numbers game, right? You just got to put the stuff out there. Like, don't do one poll with one chart and expect that you're going to get 1,000 inbound links. It's not going to happen. But you put out 100 charts, and over the months, you're going to attract inbound links. And they're free, and it's almost no time. And plus, you provide really good content on your site.
So do you have like these running on some of your very high traffic sites, like kind of all the time, just because there's so many visitors?
On and off, yeah. It's I kind of get inspired. I do a bunch, and then I create them, and then I will put them out there, and then I'll kind of stop, and then I'll do it again. So yeah, I mean, I've got probably like hundreds in my poll creation account, but like with thousands of responses. Now, I haven't even published them all yet. I mean, I got to get to it, but they're there, and the data's there, and it's just another opportunity to put out really good content. I do quite a few other things in terms of creating what I call link bait content.
All right. That was John Dykstra dropping some pretty awesome knowledge about link bait type content, specifically polls. And I have a couple ideas myself to get, some pretty cool content out there based on just surveys and polls and stuff like that. Again, highly recommend you check out John's stuff. Don't forget, there's a link in the description for John's brand new SEO course. It's an on-site SEO, so all on-site changes, and typically you get an impact really quick from any on-site changes. I often see them in like 5 days or less. Sometimes it could be, a little over a week, but it's usually pretty darn quick if you're making these changes on site and then re-indexing those specific pages which you are changing. So highly recommend you check it out. Again, 50% off. It's $73.50 discount, right? So $73 discount if you buy before the end of the day. Kent's on, Emmanuel's on. We have Satnam, and great questions here. I'm going to circle back. I think Derek had one earlier, and one funny thing. So we have like a few more visitors than normal today, which is awesome compared to the last few weeks. And the funny thing is, I started this live stream on the wrong stream basically. So I set up a live stream. I scheduled it days ago, maybe up to a week ago. I don't actually remember. And basically, when I started the live stream, it just started like a random live stream. But for whatever reason, there's more people watching. So lesson learned, because apparently maybe I could just start them randomly and not let people know ahead of time or something. I'm not really sure. I thought scheduling them ahead of time was a good thing, but there's clearly more people here now than there were like the last 3 weeks. Almost double. Like I think last week there were like 15, 20 people on live. Maybe it crept up a little bit higher, but we were up over 40 at one point for this stream. So funny. I thought I had the tech down, and then I screwed up, and it turned out to do a little bit better. So we do what we can. We do what we can. All right, I'm gonna hit a few questions here, and then we're gonna play a couple more clips. So, few people mentioned the Age Site case study. If you haven't checked that out, the whole premise is I bought a site, an Age site from Human Proof Designs, and I outsourced basically all the activities, keyword research, writing the content, link building, all the stuff. And it's slowly been growing. And, I've hardly done any work. I haven't read more than a few hundred words of content. And I keep saying, I know Daniel probably knows this, I keep saying, hey, I'm going to read everything and really try to do some improvements. And then, I still haven't done it. Okay, moving on. Derek says, how do I track my niche site page performance to know which convert the best? What's my method? So I don't do anything specific. You could set up, tracking for like a tracking ID for certain pages, but essentially that becomes pretty cumbersome. I believe if you're savvy with like Google Analytics and tracking the events that happen on a page, you can track not the conversion specifically, but you can track how many clicks a specific link gets. So that you can figure out like these pages are sending more people to Amazon. You wouldn't necessarily know if those people are buying because you lose that transparency, that connection from analytics once the visitor goes over to Amazon. Once they go to Amazon, you don't have any visibility on the visitor, the purchaser, anything like that. They just head over there. Someone asks about skim links. I don't associate with skim links, so I can't answer your question. David says you have a blog that has a lot of traffic for best of keywords, but they don't convert to buyers. What could be going wrong? The merchant is great on conversions. So, number one, I don't have enough information, but I can give you a couple ideas. So it could be the wrong kind of visitors. It could be the wrong kind of products that they're browsing to based on like what they're really interested in. So for example, if someone was looking for very cheap ballpoint pens, but you were sending them to very expensive ballpoint pens, they probably wouldn't buy. And vice versa, then that could be the same exact deal. Same exact deal. So, all right. Adnan says you're driving and listening. Be careful out there. Be careful out there, man. Next, let me just blast through some more of these good questions that people sent in. Positive Equator says you run a freelance content writing website. You've been using the KGR formula. However, you find it hard to get KGR awards in the niche. Any tips? That's a pretty narrow niche. So instead of trying to find specific keywords that you think are directly related to the shit that you're trying to do, instead, you should try to attract visitors who potentially could be customers. So what that means is you shouldn't try and find keywords directly related to the topics that you want to write about. You should find topics that would-be customers are interested in for your site. That applies to everything, by the way. So whether it's a freelance writing website, if it's an e-commerce site, if it's a local professional site like an accountant or a lawyer or a dentist or whatever, you should think about the customers that could be there, what they are into, and then try to cater to that versus trying to find anything specific. Adnan is going to publish 50 KGR posts a month. How many guest posts should I publish? And I was like, oh, why are you publishing 50 posts in a month? And basically get as many guest posts as you can. I generally find that people's budget runs out before the number of backlinks that they need to get hit a maximum. So basically you can build as many links as you can. And other people are mentioning, hey, I was watching your videos and then you just showed up live and I clicked over there, which is awesome. And it's funny, now we're up to like 48, almost 50 people here. So that's fun. And as we are moving through, Woman in Wellness says that Bluehost recommended that you use the paid version of WordFence for security. Cool. I know some people like that. And it probably does an okay job. And I just want to highlight this. So Adnan mentions, says, hey, did you get my email about selling the affiliate sites and possible partnership? So I get a lot of those emails, and I'll just give a blanket statement. Adnan seems like a fine person, as many other people do, but it's been sort of, I don't know what the fuck's going on. So in the last couple weeks, I've gotten multiple emails per week where someone is like, hey, can you give me this thing for free? Which, Adnan, that's not what you're asking, but it all ties together. Can you give me the course for free? Usually no. All right. 99.999, 100% no. All right. It cheapens the value of the course. And basically, every time I've given the course away for free, like to friends or family, they don't do anything because they don't value it, because they literally put nothing into it and they're like, whatever. They don't do a fucking thing with it. As far as partnerships, most of the time people are like, hey man, um, actually this pitch was pretty funny because I literally couldn't understand the upside for me. So someone was like, hey, I'm an up and comer. I'm an up and comer. I'm hungry. I really want to learn about affiliate marketing and SEO and stuff. And I wonder if maybe you have a what was it? He was like, why don't you let me work on one of your sites? Except why don't you, Doug? Why don't you keep doing all the content and doing everything, and then we'll split the profits. And I was like, what the fuck are you gonna do then? I was like, this has been. I was nicer about it. All right. When it's just us talking, I'll just shoot the shit. But usually in written form, I have honed and refined my approach due to years of corporate experience. So I come off pretty good in the written word most of the time. So anyway, I don't know what the guy thought the pitch was going to be, but it was like, hey, why don't we work together? You keep doing all the work. We'll split the profits. And I was like, dude, who are you? And what are you even talking about? I'm not really sure I see an upside to this at all. So you want me to teach you a bunch of stuff? We split the profits. I continued to do all the work, and I was like, all right, I don't know. Anyway, Adnan, I don't think your email was that one. That was not your email. So just want to make that clear. So anyway, generally I say no because I have enough stuff that I want to work on, and then I am in this luxurious position where I can choose to work on the things that I want to work on. And usually me doing a bunch of like busy work and stuff, not fun. I generally don't want to do that. So very, very lucky to be in the position that I'm in. And then the other email, this one was good too. Hopefully this one wasn't yours, Adnan, but someone did email me, and they were like, hey, just think about when you started, and hey, can you cut me a break and really like help me out here? And this kind of applies to copywriting a little bit, but it applies to people getting started and if you're interested in like entrepreneurship and stuff. Um, when I got started, no one gave a fuck. No one gave me any extra help or anything like that. I didn't ask for favors. Like, basically, if you go and do some interesting things, you may or may not have to be successful at it, by the way. But if you do interesting things and you have an interesting story, then people are more likely to, humor you, work with you, and that sort of thing. But generally, people that are in a position like I'm in, or other peers, John, Ron, other folks that we hear from on the channel, usually they worked at whatever it is they're working on really hard for a long sustained period of time. So when the person was like, hey, think about what it was like when you got started, I was like, yeah, I remember. I fucking busted my ass. I was working hard on it. So yeah, I remember. And it looks like you're asking for a favor. Hope that wasn't anyone on here. But anyway, sometimes when you get a lot of emails and a lot of people are asking for stuff, I have like a friendly, I decline not taking on new stuff. Sometimes I'll be blunt, more blunt, and just say like, hey, I don't see an upside here. So yeah, not going to do that. Okay, moving on. Let's move on here. Some people are asking about images and proper image usage. So basically you can't do any shortcut things. But if you go to nichesitejproject.com/FAQ, there's literally a how do I use images correctly? So go read that and then you'll have a good idea. But basically, if you're trying to think about doing anything, no, someone's car alarm's going off. Everything's fine. So basically, if you're trying to think about doing anything easy, then take shortcuts, probably not allowed. Okay, moving on. Yeah, so more people are on here. Maybe I'm not going to schedule ahead of time, although I'm going to try and hold hold to this 10 to 11 roughly on the mountain time. Positive Equator says it's your first time on live. You immediately were notified. So, oh, sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, good. People got the push message and they want an SEO lesson. Okay, cool. And wow, live stream by accident. Boom. So apparently this is a way to do it. Okay, so Umar says, can I use the KGR on another affiliate platform? Sure, you could do whatever you want. The monetization is completely 100% irrelevant for the KGR. KGR is a keyword research idea. All right, Andy is on. We have Davian on as well. Nabil says, asking about affiliate disclosures, privacy policies, and other sort of legal type pages. Do we need to no follow? You don't need to no follow those, but you could no follow those, I think, without much harm. But I wouldn't worry about it too much. It's not going to make a huge difference. Hi, what's going on? And Divas says, what should be the average conversion rate in affiliate marketing? Well, it depends on the the marketplace. So generally, it's going to be somewhere between 2% and probably 15%. If you're talking about Amazon, a lot of times your effective conversion rate is going to be between 4% to say 13%, something like that. And you can apply the bell curve, and that'll mostly get you a close way. All right, people are asking about the money content and info articles versus affiliate content. I aim for 50-50, but it's totally up to you. Okay, so Adnan finally says, no, I've been trying to find your way in for a few years, and you didn't ask for a favor. You wanted, I asked if that was equally profitable for you, Okay, well, and still, even if someone comes at me with a valid, even if it was one of my friends and hey, do you want to do this business transaction? Usually well, at least at this point in time, I'm not taking on new big projects or anything like that. So that's generally my approach. I do have a little slack in my schedule, and I'm trying to put way more slack in my schedule so I can wait for really cool opportunities that I'm into. So let's hop over to the Ron Stefanski clip. So again, this is a highlight reel. There's Georgie back there. She's stretching. So this is a highlight reel from a video from Ron and I that is not yet published. And like the last couple, I am not 100% sure what this one is about, but I'm sure Ron is saying something super intelligent. Go check out 1 Hour Professor as well. Highly recommend it.
Okay, so yeah, ROI, I think personally, I would probably say that your keyword research and actually getting written content that's of quality are going to be the biggest things that are going to return any investment at all. I have a consulting person now, and they were talking about email marketing and social media and this, that, and the other. I said, stop. Focus on content and focus on keywords, because in the beginning, that it literally is all that matters. Because if you don't have good content and keywords, nothing else is going to follow. So I definitely don't, have a specific ROI, even target for all of my articles, because if you're doing an affiliate website, I could see that being kind of more relevant. But with the display one, it's just like a shotgun approach. Let's create this, let's create this, let's create this, and let's do it with quality. Let's create better than competitors. Let's push it out and see what we rank for. And so far that's been able to work with me. But yeah, I don't do a return on investment with that. Like I said, I think the two most valuable things are going to be the keyword and the content. So I won't outsource my keywords because I've done enough research on that. And then the content, I just make sure I have really good and tight templates and really good content in general to beat my competitors. So
okay, and that totally makes sense. I mean, again, we've done this for a little while. Our combined experience with marketing is many years, right? Well, it's over a decade, right? It's a lot. Maybe even up to 20 years because you actually have a marketing background.
Yeah, right? I was in marketing for about 10 years prior to even getting it. So I'm at 15 years, 16 years myself. So yeah.
Okay, so I could help us push it over the 20-year mark. So we have some experience, but I'm if my wife, which this is something that she would maybe do, she's like, well, what's the ROI on that? And I'm like, I don't know, but it's trending in the right direction, which is like,
Exactly.
I mean, that is part of entrepreneurship. Like you have uncertain results, you don't have enough information, and you kind of just have to like hope you're going in the right direction. And we know, we could tell, right, on our various projects or case studies here that we're talking about, like we're generally going in the right direction. We don't know when we're going to break even, but we know pretty close the valuation, or pretty soon the valuation is going to be close to a break even point. And once you get to that, it's like you have a lot more freedom to, or I guess confidence. It's not really freedom, but you have confidence in like what you've done. So
Yeah, yeah, and to be clear, so some people know, not everyone's a winner. I created my website with my wife, and I'll give away the niche because it's super big. It's just fashion. It's like this fashion website, which I have no interest in. But that one, we created it. It has made some money, but it's definitely not trending in the right direction. We've done consistent link building slowly. We're still waiting. I'm hoping it's going to pop. And sometimes patience is a big thing. But I have the luxury at this point to where my portfolio of websites can fund itself and then a lot more. So I'm able to take that risk that some people would maybe want to quit. I'm just able to continue to take that risk. So yeah, like not every one of them is a winner, even still. There's always going to be variables. And that's my biggest thing with like determining an ROI. Like, oh, it's just, to me, that's a vanity metric to really determine an ROI on a piece of content, because that's like in the best scenario, and I make 80% of revenue, then I can make this. And then if it's at 100%, I can make this. It doesn't matter, because guess what? If Google doesn't rank you, you're not making a thing. Like that's just the reality. And you don't own Google. You can do everything you want to try to get in there and hack the SEO system, if you will. But at the end of the day, if you don't get ranked, it doesn't matter. So that's why I'm like you. I focus on the trend. If it's growing positively and not stagnant, or not stagnant for too long or not declining, let's just keep going and let's keep pushing that boulder, because eventually that boulder gets uphill and then it starts rolling down. And I'm getting to the, I almost feel like when you hit that valuation, the worth of the website, that's when you have a boulder on the top of the hill. And then once you nudge it there, it really starts rolling and getting bigger. You can even see it. Spencer Hawes just did a public case study, and he's doing really well with that. And it's like the exact same thing. So this growth, it just takes time. So.
Sure. And I think the word you're looking for is snowball. So a boulder just going to roll down the hill. Snowball, a little bit bigger.
Boulder would probably just kill a bunch of people. Good point.
Yeah.
Mike.
All right. Soon that interview is going to go live. I can't remember what it is on the schedule. It may be like Monday. It's all written down somewhere, but I don't have it in front of me. Actually, it is right in front of me, but I'm not going to look. So soon that interview with Ron is going to come out. The John Dykstra interview is going to come out soon as well. So we got that to look forward to. And quick plug, like if you're new to the channel, I know we have quite a few folks here. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We do these live streams on Fridays. I've been changing the format to roughly what you see here, play some highlights, answer a couple questions, talk about things I want to talk about for a little while, which are usually driven by viewer, reader, and listener emails and questions. So I know people are like, hey, I want to grow my revenue. So we talked about that for like 20 minutes. We play some relevant stuff, based on interviews. We got some highlights and all that as well. So thanks a lot for everyone hopping on here today. I'll give a shout out to Joe Friendly. You say you've been watching for a while. You like the content. What's my take on TikTok for driving traffic? But it's with its own unique challenges. So I don't know much about TikTok. I took a quick look at it just as it's growing, and I hear people talk about it. And I usually don't jump on trends. I'm usually like 5 years behind everyone else. So I would say TikTok could be interesting if you're interested in that kind of shit, but I'm not. And it looks like it's probably pretty hard to get someone off the platform. Like Instagram is kind of hard to get someone off the platform. People do it. People do run ads. They sell directly on there. But generally, I would say driving traffic from TikTok is probably an uphill battle. It could be interesting if you're like into that, but I wouldn't look at it to drive traffic. I am completely inexperienced, but just in general, typically a platform like that It's hard to get people off. I mean, just on YouTube, it's hard to get people off and over to your site. You really have to entice them. It's hard to get people to watch a video for a few minutes. All right, Bill says you haven't received anything, so I'll check on that. I don't know why. It could have ended up with your spam potentially. I'm not sure. All right. Okay. Well, I think that covers it for this week's edition. Please do subscribe. Check out the Niche Site Project website. If you had any question at all, if you go over to Niche Site Project, there's a full FAQ section. There's FAQs about the keyword golden ratio. Basically, 80% of the questions that people ask are answered on those 2 FAQ pages. So highly recommend you check them out. Have a great weekend. We will catch you later.